She hid her face for years, then removed the mask just for me. The city's upper level was alive with the soft hum of starships landing and taking off, a constant rhythm of engines and announcements that echoed through the metallic corridors. Humans were rare here, and most aliens barely noticed them as they moved with purpose, their long limbs and luminous eyes glinting under the artificial lights. But Ethan, he noticed everything. He had been here only a few days, yet his eyes scanned every crowd and every shadow, a habit he had learned from years of navigating human cities far less dangerous than this. He had come for trade at first, expecting nothing more than routine deals. But the moment he had entered the upper bazaar, he felt it, a presence that drew attention without trying. A figure moved against the current of beings, tall, elegant, and mysterious. Her full-face mask reflected the neon lights, hiding her expressions completely, yet the way she walked suggested careful thought as if each step was measured. She seemed familiar, not in face. He could not see it, but in energy, a calm control that most humans lacked. Ethan, he paused at a stall selling rare metals, trying not to stare, but the mask caught his eye again. It wasn't unusual to see masked figures here. Some were dignitaries, some were criminals, and some were simply cautious. But there was something about her, something that made him feel that she was watching the world, not moving in it. For a moment she glanced sideways, and he thought he saw her eyes flicker behind the mask. He could not be sure. He followed her at a distance, weaving between vendors who sold crystalline tools and glowing orbs. She moved with purpose, never slowing, never hurrying, like a river flowing through a forest of alien shapes. Ethan, he tried to keep pace without being noticed, and he was already beginning to feel the thrill of discovery. Who was she, and why did she hide herself so carefully? The city was full of secrets, but she seemed to carry the weight of one older and heavier than any he had seen. She entered a narrow alley, its walls lined with small shops that displayed mechanical gadgets Ethan had never seen before. The hum of energy fields vibrated through the air, and the smell of ionized metal filled his nose. He slowed to avoid alerting her, but it was too late. She stopped suddenly, as if sensing him. For a moment, their eyes met through the reflective surface of her mask. He felt a shiver run down his spine. Humans were fragile here. One wrong move, and he could be crushed or ignored forever. Instead, she reached into a small compartment of her cloak and dropped something onto the ground, a pendant glowing with soft blue light. Ethan, he bent down instinctively, picking it up, and he noticed its intricate design. It was a small device, circular, with delicate carvings that seemed to move when he tilted it in his hands. He looked up, but she had already stepped into a private transport, a hovering vehicle that vanished into the sky in seconds. The pendant pulsed once softly, like it had a heartbeat. Ethan, he felt warmth in his fingers, and then a voice, soft and unfamiliar, echoed in his mind. Not spoken aloud, but felt. "If you can understand this, you are ready." He stumbled back, nearly dropping the pendant. Humans could not normally sense such things. He looked around, no one had noticed. The crowd flowed past, oblivious. Only he had heard it. Fear and curiosity tangled in his chest. Who was she, and why had she chosen him? Ethan, he spent the rest of the day wandering the bazaar, trying to understand the pendant. It seemed alive, almost intelligent. When he held it close, faint images flickered across his mind, alien landscapes, strange stars, and glimpses of people he had never met. They were not memories exactly, but fragments of knowledge. He realized the device was not just a gift, it was a test. And someone, Lyra, she, as he would soon learn, was testing him. Night fell over the city, but the upper level never truly slept. Lights shifted from neon to soft glows, and the air became cooler, tinged with the smell of energy fields and metal. Ethan, he found a quiet corner on a balcony overlooking the main plaza. He examined the pendant again, tracing the carvings with his fingers. The pulse became stronger, syncing with his own heartbeat, and then for the first time the voice returned. "You are not like the others," it said, calm and measured. "Most humans cannot endure what comes next, but you might." Ethan, he swallowed hard. His mind raced. He had always known humans were underestimated, treated as fragile or slow, especially here among the stars. But he had never thought an alien, especially one so careful, so powerful, would reach out to him personally. He felt a surge of pride mixed with fear. He had to rise to the challenge. Over the next few days, he tried to learn more. He studied alien mechanics, deciphered symbols on the pendant, and watched the crowd in the plaza, hoping for another glimpse of her. And always he felt her presence, faint but unmistakable, like a shadow at the edge of vision. The pendant guided him to places he would never have dared enter alone. Hidden alleys, abandoned docking stations, and secret markets where alien technology was traded like currency. In one of these hidden markets, he encountered a merchant who seemed to recognize the pendant immediately. "You hold the beacon," the merchant said, eyes wide. "Rare as a newborn star, only one being has sent it to a human in 1,000 cycles." He realized then that he was part of something larger than himself. Humans were not meant to be here in the center of galactic power, yet somehow he had been chosen, not for wealth, not for status, but for trust. He did not see her again that day or the next. Yet every pulse of the pendant reminded him of her, reminding him that someone had reached across light years and social barriers to put faith in him. The city felt different now. The noise, the alien eyes, the neon lights, all were part of a test. And he had accepted it without even realizing. Late one night, he stood on a balcony watching starships streak past the dark sky, each leaving a faint trail of light. He held the pendant close, feeling warmth and something deeper, connection. And then, without warning, the pendant projected a holographic image above his hand. The figure was unmistakable, masked but unmistakably her. Lyra, she looked at him, her posture calm, but her eyes he could only see now through the projection, carried centuries of caution, pain, and longing. "You must be careful," the voice said again, but this time he heard it clearly, not in his mind, but through the device. "Many want what I guard. Few are ready. You are ready, but you must not falter." He nodded, even though she could not see him. "I won't," he whispered. "I promise." The image vanished as quickly as it appeared, leaving him alone in the night, the city alive below. But he was no longer just another human wandering a foreign world. He was someone who had been chosen, who had been trusted, and he would prove that humans, underestimated as they were, could rise to any challenge, even among the stars. By morning, he had made a decision. He would not wait for her to return. He would follow the pendant, follow the path she had illuminated, and uncover the secrets she had guarded for decades. If a human could be trusted with her knowledge, he would show the galaxy that humans were not just survivors, they were catalysts. And somewhere in the endless night, high above the city, Lyra, she watched silently from her ship. For the first time in years, she felt something she had long buried. Hope. Hope that a human could not only understand her world, but change it. And perhaps one day he would see the face she had hidden for decades, the face she had revealed only in trust. He spent the next day walking the crowded corridors of the city's upper level with a new sense of purpose. The pendant pulsed softly against his chest, almost as if it were alive, guiding him without words. Each vibration led him to areas he would never have dared enter alone before. Narrow alleys, abandoned platforms, and hidden docks where cargo hovered silently in the air, suspended by anti-gravity fields. He could feel the weight of the city's secrets pressing down on him, but for the first time it didn't scare him. It excited him. He stopped in front of a small doorway that seemed insignificant among the neon glow of the marketplace. The pendant pulsed once, brightening, and then a soft light emanated from it, revealing symbols etched into the walls around the doorway. He studied the symbols carefully. They were alien, unfamiliar, yet oddly familiar at the same time. Somehow he understood their meaning, not fully, but enough to know that this was the next step. He took a deep breath and pushed the door open. Inside was a dimly lit room filled with strange devices, holographic projections, and shelves lined with crystalline containers. It smelled of ozone and metal. His eyes immediately went to the largest hologram in the center, a rotating map of nearby star systems, with glowing points that pulsed like tiny hearts. He realized that the pendant had not only brought him here, but it had unlocked something, giving him access to a network of knowledge few humans had ever seen. "You are here," a familiar voice echoed in his mind. Not spoken aloud, but clear, distinct. It was her, Lyra She. "Few can navigate this space without being detected. You are not like the others." He swallowed hard, his heart racing. He had never felt more alive, yet more aware of his own fragility. I want to understand," he whispered, almost to himself. "I want to learn what you've been guarding." The pendant glowed brighter, and a new image flickered above it, a small alien craft, sleek and dark, moving through the void at incredible speed. "This is my vessel," the voice explained. "It carries knowledge and tools that must never fall into the wrong hands. For centuries, I have hidden it from those who would use it for war. Now you have the chance to see it, to understand it, but you must be careful. Many are searching, many will attack if they know it exists." He looked at the hologram in awe. Humans were considered weak by most alien species, but here he was, trusted with secrets no other human had ever known. He felt a surge of pride, tempered by the weight of responsibility. He could not fail. He spent hours studying the holograms, learning alien navigation systems, energy conduits, and tactical protocols. Every time he touched the pendant, he felt a connection to her, as if she were guiding his thoughts, showing him patterns he could not see on his own. He realized that Lyra, she had been alone for decades, hiding from enemies, carrying the burden of her knowledge. She had never trusted anyone, and yet now she was trusting him. Night fell again over the city, but he hardly noticed. His mind was alive with calculations, strategies, and possibilities. He experimented with small devices, testing their reactions, and realized that even without a formal understanding of alien engineering, he could solve problems by intuition. Humans were adaptable in ways that many species underestimated, and he was beginning to understand why she had chosen him. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from outside the room. The pendant pulsed violently, almost as if it were warning him. He froze, listening. The city was alive with movement, but this sound was different, sharp, precise, deliberate. Someone was searching. He ran to the nearest exit, the pendant guiding him like a compass. As he emerged onto the balcony above the plaza, he saw figures moving quickly through the crowd. They were tall, armored, and unmistakably part of a known mercenary group that had been hired by the galactic warlord rumored to be seeking Lyra, for her secrets. Fear pricked at the edges of his mind, but he pushed it aside. He was not just any human anymore. He had been chosen, and he had the tools to survive. The pendant glowed, projecting a beam of light into the sky. It formed a path, a trail that he could follow. He ran, weaving through the market, ducking under low-hanging signs and leaping over anti-gravity carts. The mercenaries were fast, but the pendant seemed to anticipate every move, guiding him to safety. After what felt like hours, he reached a secluded dock where a small shuttle waited, engines humming quietly. The pendant pulsed once, and then she appeared in projection again, her masked face illuminated by soft light. "You have done well," Lyra said. "But this is only the beginning. If you follow me, you will learn what it means to truly trust a human." He nodded, feeling a mix of adrenaline and pride. "I'm ready," he said. The shuttle lifted silently, gliding past the city's towers and into the dark void of space. He watched as the lights of the city shrank beneath him, replaced by the endless stars. He felt small, but not powerless. For the first time, he realized that humans were underestimated not because they were weak, but because others failed to see their potential. Days passed as the shuttle traveled through remote sectors, following routes only the pendant could illuminate. He spent the time learning from the devices on board, experimenting with alien technology and slowly piecing together fragments of Lyra's life. She had spent decades hiding, constantly moving, protecting knowledge that could tip the balance of power in the galaxy. And now, she had shared a piece of that life with him. At one point, the shuttle passed through a nebula that shimmered with colors humans could barely name. The pendant pulsed, projecting an image of a star system under threat. He realized that the projection was more than a map. It was a record of ongoing conflicts, pirate attacks, and political schemes. He studied it carefully, noting patterns in movement, energy signatures, and supply routes. Without thinking, he began to suggest strategies to avoid detection, strategies no alien navigator had considered. Lyra watched him closely, silent, but her presence felt like approval. "You see possibilities," she said at last, her voice soft but firm. "Most species cannot. Humans are reckless, yes, but they are also inventive. You think in ways no one else does. That is why I trusted you." He felt a swell of pride, but also responsibility. "I won't let you down," he said. "I'll learn, I'll be ready." The pendant pulsed again, and a new challenge appeared, a series of encrypted coordinates leading to a distant moon. Lyra explained that on this moon lay a facility that held ancient alien technology, long abandoned but highly dangerous if it fell into the wrong hands. "Many have tried to access it," she said. "All have failed. You may succeed because you are human. Ethan, he studied the coordinates carefully. The risk was immense. One wrong calculation could destroy the shuttle or trigger alarms that would alert enemies. But he felt a thrill, a deep certainty that he could handle it. He realized that humans' greatest strength was not their power, but their ability to improvise, to adapt, and to confront danger without fear. As the shuttle approached the moon, Ethan, he noticed unusual energy readings. The surface glowed faintly with unknown frequencies. The pendant pulsed rapidly, guiding him to a hidden entrance. He piloted the shuttle down a narrow canyon, narrowly avoiding jagged cliffs until they reached a flat landing area. The moon was silent, eerie, and vast. He could feel the weight of history pressing down on him. "Prepare yourself," Lyra Shi said through the pendant. "Inside this facility are tools and knowledge beyond your imagination, but also traps and tests. Only a human mind can navigate them as they were meant to be navigated." Ethan, he nodded, feeling a mixture of excitement and tension. He had always known humans were underestimated, but now he understood why. They were capable of seeing solutions where others saw only problems. They could endure, adapt, and prevail. The shuttle's ramp lowered, and Ethan, he stepped onto the moon's surface. The cold wind bit at his skin, but he felt alive, more alive than he had ever felt before. The facility loomed ahead, dark and silent, its walls marked with alien symbols. He could feel the pendant vibrating, as if urging him forward, and he realized that this was the first of many challenges he would face. As he entered the facility, the pendant projected a faint glow along the walls, illuminating the path. Each step echoed in the empty halls. Strange machinery hummed to life as he passed, reacting to his presence. He realized that every puzzle, every mechanism had been designed not for strength, but for intelligence and creativity. And here, humans could excel. Hours passed as he navigated the facility, deciphering alien codes and bypassing security systems. He made mistakes, yes, but he learned from them, adapting quickly. Lyra, she observed silently through the pendant, offering guidance only when necessary. Slowly, he began to understand her world, her isolation, and the immense trust she had placed in him. At last, he reached a chamber at the facility's center. The walls glowed with faint light, and in the middle a console projected a holographic array of symbols and devices. Ethan, he approached carefully, studying each component. The pendant pulsed in response, and he realized that this was more than a test. This was a transfer of knowledge, a gift meant to empower him and, through him, humanity. "You have done well," Lyra Shi said softly. "Few would have reached this point. Few would have succeeded. But you have. You see, humans are underestimated because others refuse to imagine what they can achieve. You have shown me that they can be trusted, that they can rise to any challenge." Ethan, he felt a warmth in his chest, a mixture of pride, fear, and exhilaration. For the first time, he realized that he was not just participating in her world, he was changing it. Humans could do more than survive. They could thrive, innovate, and inspire respect in a galaxy that had long dismissed them. As he stood in the chamber, the pendant pulsing gently against his chest, Ethan, he felt a deep connection to her trust, and to the path ahead. This was only the beginning, and when the time came, he would prove that humans were not to be underestimated. The facility hummed softly around him, alive with energy, history, and possibility. And somewhere far above, Lyra, she watched silently, her heart quietly daring to hope. The chamber hummed quietly, alive with alien energy, and Ethan, he stood at its center, eyes fixed on the holographic console. The symbols shifted and flowed as if alive, reacting to his presence, inviting him to explore their secrets. He felt a surge of awe mixed with a quiet fear. He was deep in a place humans were never meant to be, handling technology far beyond their comprehension. Yet, for some reason, he could understand it, intuitively, instinctively. The pendant pulsed, sending a wave of warmth through his chest. It was as if Lyra, she were beside him, guiding him, watching every step. "You have done well so far," her voice echoed softly in his mind. "But the next trial is not just a puzzle, it is a choice." Ethan, he frowned, studying the console. Streams of alien data cascaded across the hologram. Some were clearly historical records, others maps of star systems, and still others appeared to be tactical designs, ships, fleets, and energy grids. One section glowed brighter than the rest, marked by a symbol that made his pulse quicken. It looked like a target, but the pendant indicated it was safe to access. As he reached out, the room's lights dimmed suddenly and a low hum filled the air. He froze, senses alert. Outside, the quiet of the moon was shattered by the sound of distant explosions. Dust and small rocks rattled across the floor, and he realized with a shock that the facility was under attack. Without thinking, he activated the pendant. A map projected into the air, showing multiple points of movement, ships, small fighters, and fast skimmers closing in. He realized that someone had followed them, tracking the shuttle, finding the facility. His heart pounded, but he did not panic. Humans survived by adapting, and that was exactly what he intended to do. He moved quickly, scanning the holographic data for weak points in the attacker's approach. The symbols danced across the display, giving him more information than he had imagined. He noticed patterns in their fleet, timing of their maneuvers, and the energy signatures of their weapons. Using the console, he began to manipulate the moon's defense systems, rerouting energy from inactive machinery to create barriers, shields, and traps. The first wave of attackers hit the outer perimeter. Small skimmers crashed against energy barriers, sparks flying as they bounced harmlessly away. He smiled faintly. Humans were underestimated, yes, but that meant no one expected the improvisation he could create. He worked quickly, rerouting power, creating decoys, and anticipating each move. The pendant pulsed faster, almost in excitement, guiding him to the most effective solutions. Lyra She appeared in projection above the console, her masked face calm but focused. "You are seeing what I hoped you could," she said. "Others would have panicked, but you see possibilities. Keep going. Human ingenuity is rare here." He worked tirelessly, his hands moving over the console in a blur. Each decision was calculated yet instinctive. He could see how the enemy adjusted to his defenses, and he adapted instantly, creating traps that drew them into energy nets, redirected their own weapons, and disabled their communications. Slowly, the attackers began to falter, frustrated by the sudden efficiency of a human operating what they thought was incomprehensible alien technology. Minutes stretched into an hour, the noise outside growing louder. He realized that the attackers were not just mercenaries. They were elite, highly trained operatives, likely sent by the warlord who had long sought Lyra's secrets. Yet here he was, alone but capable, guiding the defenses with a calm precision no one had expected. Finally, the last of the skimmers fell into an energy trap, sparks flying into the dark sky. Silence returned to the moon, broken only by the soft hum of the facility and the pulsing pendant. He breathed heavily, realizing that he had just survived a test more dangerous than any puzzle or code. But it was more than survival, it was proof. Humans could rise to challenges that others thought impossible. Lyra She projected herself closer to him, her presence almost tangible through the pendant. "You have exceeded my expectations," she said softly. "Few beings, alien or human, could have done what you just did. I see now why humans are underestimated. They can see solutions where others see only obstacles. They can act where others hesitate, and they can endure when others would fall." He looked at her, still in projection, and for the first time he wondered about the person behind the mask. He imagined her face, her expressions, her thoughts. She had trusted him in ways no one else had, and he had not failed her. After the attack, he focused again on the console. The system was damaged in places, but he could repair it. His hands worked quickly, guided by intuition and logic. He learned to operate alien machinery without fear, improvising tools and solutions, discovering energy flows that even Lyra She had not thought to manipulate. Each success increased his confidence, but also strengthened the connection between them. Hours later, as the moon's surface fell quiet again, a new projection appeared on the console. It was a star system under siege, fleets locked in combat, planets under threat. He studied the hologram, understanding the tactical positions, the weaknesses, and the potential strategies. Without the pendant, he might have been lost, overwhelmed. With it, he could see the entire picture and even plan moves that seemed impossible. "You are learning faster than I expected," Lyra She said softly. "But knowledge is only part of what you need. You must understand the human advantage, the ability to improvise, to think creatively, to act where others hesitate. That is why I have guided you here. That is why I trusted you." He nodded, feeling a swell of pride and responsibility. He realized that humans were underestimated not because they lacked strength, but because they were unpredictable, inventive, and capable of courage under pressure. And that unpredictability was exactly what Lyra she needed in her fight against enemies who underestimated them both. Suddenly, a low alarm sounded from the facility. He turned, scanning the room. One of the outer doors had been breached. Small drones, silent, sharp, and precise, had entered, likely scouts left behind by the enemy. He didn't hesitate. Using the console, he activated energy pulses that disabled their circuits and redirected power to defensive shields. When one drone advanced too quickly, he used a nearby device to create a temporary gravity well, trapping it in midair until it powered down. Lyra, she observed, her voice calm but impressed. "You are not just solving puzzles, Ethan. You are defending life itself. Few beings can do both. You see possibilities and you act decisively. That is what I hoped humans could achieve." Minutes later, the drones were destroyed or incapacitated, and the facility fell silent again. He leaned against a console, breathing heavily. He realized that every challenge, every obstacle had been an opportunity to demonstrate the strength humans possessed, a combination of intellect, creativity, and courage. The pendant pulsed softly, almost in approval, and he felt a strange warmth in his chest. It was not just energy, it was connection. He understood now why Lyra, she had remained hidden for decades, why she had trusted no one, and he understood why she had chosen him. Humans could endure, adapt, and rise to challenges that others thought impossible. As he studied the holographic projections, he noticed a faint signal in the corner, a hidden message, encrypted in a way that even Lyra, she had not highlighted. Curious, he began to decipher it. Lines of alien code flowed across the projection, describing a hidden weapon, ancient and powerful, capable of changing the balance of the galaxy if activated. He realized the implications immediately. Such a device in the wrong hands could destroy worlds. And now it was up to him and Lyra, she, to ensure it did not fall into enemy control. The pendant pulsed, guiding him to solutions, to patterns, to sequences that seemed impossible. With careful thought, improvisation, and instinct, he decoded the message, revealing the weapon's location and security systems. Lyra, she appeared again, this time closer, her presence almost tangible. "You have done what few could, Ethan," she said softly. "You see, humans are underestimated not because they are weak, but because no one imagines what they can achieve. And now you have proven it." He felt a surge of pride, tempered by the weight of responsibility. The galaxy would not wait, and enemies were already moving. But he was ready. He understood his advantage. Humans could act where others hesitated. They could see solutions where others saw only problems. They could endure challenges that others would flee from. He glanced at the pendant, glowing softly against his chest. It was more than a device. It was trust. It was guidance. It was connection. And it was proof that humans were no longer underestimated. As the facility settled into quiet, he realized that the galaxy had just begun to see what humans were capable of. And when the next challenge came, he would rise to it, not just as a human, but as a force to be reckoned with. Lyra, she watched silently through the pendant, her thoughts unreadable, her presence reassuring. For the first time in decades, she felt hope. Hope that humans, fragile as others claimed them to be, could be the allies she had long sought. Hope that one human, one remarkable human, could change the course of events. And somewhere deep in the facility, he prepared for the next trial, knowing that every choice, every action, and every decision would shape not just his future, but the future of humanity in a galaxy that had long doubted them. The moon's surface was silent, bathed in the faint glow of distant stars, yet he could feel the tension in the air. The pendant pulsed steadily, guiding him and reminding him that every choice now mattered. The hidden weapon's location was within reach, but the mercenary forces who had attacked before were regrouping, more determined than ever. He glanced at Lyra, who observed quietly through the pendant. Even behind her mask, her presence conveyed trust, urgency, and cautious hope. He took a deep breath, steeling himself. Humans were considered weak, unpredictable, fragile, but he had learned to turn those qualities into strengths. The enemy would expect fear, hesitation, and mistakes. They would not expect ingenuity. He adjusted his suit, checked his tools, and prepared for the approach. Every move he made now would decide whether the weapon stayed hidden or fell into the wrong hands. The facility's outer walls rumbled as the first wave of attackers approached. Small ships descended from the sky, their energy weapons lighting up the moon's surface. Ethan, he activated the defense systems, rerouting energy to force fields that shimmered faintly in the darkness. He had spent hours before understanding the patterns of alien weaponry, and now he used that knowledge to anticipate the enemy's attacks. Lyra, she spoke through the pendant, her voice calm but firm. Do not fear the numbers, Ethan. Humans succeed not by brute strength, but by cleverness, adaptability, and courage. Use what you have learned. Think differently, act decisively. Ethan, he nodded, scanning the battlefield. The mercenaries moved in formations designed to trap intruders, their ships equipped with energy dampeners that could disable shields. Most beings would have panicked at this display, but he felt something else: clarity. Every obstacle was a problem to solve, a puzzle to turn into an advantage. He manipulated the facility's control systems, activating hidden energy conduits and redirecting power to create electromagnetic pulses. One by one, enemy skimmers lost control, spinning into craters or colliding with each other. Sparks flew as energy fields expanded, protecting the facility and forcing attackers into predictable paths. Lyra, she appeared in projection, studying his work. Good. They underestimate you because they assume your species is weak. But you see options they cannot. Keep moving, Ethan. Ethan, he smiled faintly, feeling the thrill of battle mixed with the calm precision of strategy. He moved quickly, climbing to higher vantage points, activating turrets that had remained dormant for decades, and using the facility's energy grids to create traps for the incoming ships. Each move was calculated, yet instinctive. He had learned from the pendant how the enemy reacted, and he stayed always one step ahead. The attackers realized too late that they were being funneled into zones designed to neutralize them. Energy nets grabbed ships midair, electromagnetic pulses shut down engines, and automated defenses struck with precision no human weapon could match. But Ethan, he was not relying on machinery alone. He was improvising, adjusting the systems in real time, anticipating their tactics before they even acted. The first group of enemy ships exploded in a brilliant display of sparks and fire. Ethan, he ducked as debris skidded across the moon's surface. He could feel the adrenaline, but he stayed focused. The pendant pulsed, projecting real-time data and suggestions, and he followed them instinctively. Humans were adaptive. Where aliens relied on rules and patterns, he relied on intuition. As the battle raged, small drones breached the facility's outer defenses. Ethan, he moved quickly, activating a magnetic field that trapped them midair. Using a nearby control panel, he redirected power to create temporary gravity wells, causing the drones to collide with one another. Sparks and light danced across the walls, but the facility remained intact. Lyra, she spoke again. You are doing more than defending. You are proving that humans can excel where others fail. That is why I have trusted you. That is why I have hidden my knowledge until now. You see possibilities that others do not. Ethan, he felt a surge of pride but did not let it distract him. The main wave of attackers was still approaching, their largest vessels cutting through the thin atmosphere of the moon. He studied the ships, noting weak points in their armor and timing their energy bursts. Using the facility's weapons, he created diversions, drawing the larger ships into traps where automated turrets and energy nets disabled them before they could reach the inner compound. The battle was fierce. Explosions lit up the dark sky, and the ground trembled under the weight of the assault. Yet through it all, Ethan, he remained calm, thinking several moves ahead, predicting enemy strategies and improvising solutions. Humans were underestimated not because they were weak, but because they acted unpredictably, creatively, decisively. And Ethan, he embodied all three. After hours of intense combat, the attackers began to falter. Many ships were destroyed, others disabled, and the rest retreated, realizing that the facility was not easily breached. Ethan, he exhaled, feeling exhaustion but also exhilaration. Humans had survived, adapted, and overcome. They had shown that intelligence, ingenuity, and courage could overcome sheer power. Lyra, she appeared in projection, closer than ever. Her masked face seemed almost to glow with approval. You have done it, Ethan. You have not only defended the facility, but you have shown what humans are capable of. Few could have acted so decisively, so effectively against such overwhelming odds. Ethan, He nodded, glancing at the pendant. It had guided him, yes, but he realized now that it had only amplified what he already possessed. Creativity, intuition, courage, qualities humans had but others rarely recognized. He felt a deep sense of pride, knowing that he had proven not just his worth but the potential of his species. With the attackers retreating, he turned his attention to the inner chamber of the facility. The hidden weapon was close, its energy readings pulsing softly through the walls. The pendant guided him down corridors lined with alien symbols, some glowing faintly, some etched in crystal. Each step brought him closer to knowledge and power, but also to responsibility. Finally, he reached a vast room, its walls lined with devices and consoles unlike anything he had ever seen. At the center was a structure glowing faintly, a weapon, ancient, powerful, and dangerous if misused. He approached cautiously, studying its design, its energy patterns, and its purpose. He realized that this was what she had been guarding for decades, the secret that could tip the balance of power in the galaxy. "You are ready," she said softly through the pendant. "Now you must decide, will this weapon remain hidden or will it be used to protect those who cannot protect themselves? The choice is yours, human." He studied the weapon, feeling the weight of the decision. He could sense its power, its potential, and its danger. But he also knew that humans were capable of responsibility, ingenuity, and morality. He would not make a choice lightly. He examined the controls, the energy flows, and the sequences. Using knowledge he had gained from the pendant and his own intuition, he began to stabilize the device, securing it against unauthorized use. Hours passed as he worked, carefully analyzing and adjusting the weapon systems. Each step required precision, creativity, and careful thought. He improvised where the system seemed flawed, corrected energy flows that could destabilize, and created safeguards that even advanced alien engineers might not have considered. Finally, the weapon stabilized. Its energy pulses were steady, its controls secure, and its power contained. He stepped back, breathing heavily but feeling a deep sense of accomplishment. He had not only survived, but he had mastered what many beings could not. She appeared fully in projection, her masked face close to his. "You have done it, Ethan. You have proven that humans are capable of greatness. You have defended what must be protected, and you have demonstrated ingenuity and courage beyond expectation. I have trusted you, and you have justified that trust." He smiled faintly, feeling a bond that went beyond words. He had learned that humans were underestimated not because they were weak, but because others refused to imagine what they could achieve. And now he had proven it, not just to but to himself and through their actions to the galaxy. As the moon settled into quiet once more, he realized that this was only the beginning. There would be more challenges, more enemies, and more tests of ingenuity. But he was ready. Humans were adaptable, inventive, and brave, and he had shown that even in the face of overwhelming power, they could rise, succeed, and inspire respect. She watched silently, her presence reassuring and proud. For the first time in decades, she felt a hope she had long buried. A hope that humans, fragile as others claimed them to be, could not only survive but change the course of the galaxy. And with he at her side, that hope was no longer just a dream. The stars glimmered above the moon, silent witnesses to the triumph of human ingenuity. He felt the weight of responsibility, the thrill of victory, and the promise of the future. Together, he and she had turned the tide, and the galaxy would never underestimate humans again. And somewhere deep within the facility, the pendant pulsed steadily against his chest, a reminder that humans were capable of more than survival. They could be heroes. The facility was quiet now, the echoes of battle fading into the cold stillness of the moon. He stood at the center of the control chamber, his chest rising and falling as he absorbed the gravity of what had just occurred. The weapon was secured, the enemies had retreated, and the pendant pulsed softly against his chest, a gentle reminder that the trial was over. For the first time in days, he allowed himself to breathe fully. He had survived. He had prevailed. And in doing so, he had proven something far greater. Humans were not weak, they were capable of extraordinary feats. She appeared before him in projection, her masked face calm yet vibrant with a quiet intensity. "You have done more than I ever imagined," she said. You have defended the weapon, protected the facility, and demonstrated a level of ingenuity and courage I have rarely seen, even among my own kind. You have proven why humans cannot be underestimated. Ethan, he looked at her, feeling a mixture of pride and exhaustion. He realized that her words were more than praise. They were a validation of the countless times humans had been dismissed, overlooked, and underestimated. "It wasn't just me," he said quietly. "You guided me. The pendant showed me the way, but I did my best. And I think I understand now why you trusted me." Lyra She tilted her head slightly. "Yes, but it is not just about trust, it is about vision. Humans see what others cannot. They act where others hesitate. They adapt where others fail. You have demonstrated all of this. And now you have a choice. The galaxy will soon notice this weapon, and it will demand attention. You can decide how humans will be remembered." Ethan, he considered her words carefully. He could feel the weight of responsibility pressing against his chest, heavier than any burden he had known. If this knowledge fell into the wrong hands, countless worlds could be destroyed. Yet he also realized that humans had a chance to step forward, to show that they were not merely survivors but innovators, protectors, and leaders. I want to make sure it is used to protect, not destroy," he said finally. "I want humanity to show that we can rise to challenges, to act wisely and courageously when others cannot." Lyra, she was silent for a moment, then nodded. "Then the next step begins." She paused, as if weighing the moment carefully. "For decades I have hidden my face, my identity, and my life. I did not trust anyone fully, not even my closest allies. But you have shown qualities that no one else has, and now I must show you something I have never shown anyone." Ethan, he felt his heart quicken. He had wondered about her for days, imagined her expressions, her thoughts, her humanity. And now, after everything they had endured together, she was about to reveal herself. Slowly, deliberately, Lyra She reached up and removed her mask. Ethan, he froze, his breath catching as he saw her face for the first time. She was striking, more beautiful than he could have imagined, yet her beauty was secondary to the strength, intelligence, and depth reflected in her eyes. Her gaze met his, unguarded and sincere. For the first time in decades, she allowed herself to be seen. "I trust you, Ethan," she said softly. "Not because you are perfect, but because you are human. You adapt, you think, you endure, you rise when others fall, and I have seen the proof." Ethan, he swallowed, feeling a mix of awe and gratitude. I won't let you down," he whispered. "I promise." The pendant pulsed again, brighter this time, as if acknowledging the bond that had formed between them. Ethan, he realized that it was more than a device. It was a symbol of trust, of connection, and of humanity's potential. Through it, Lyra She had shared knowledge, strategy, and guidance. And through it, they had created something new together, proof that humans were more than underestimated beings. They were capable of shaping the galaxy itself. Lyra, she gestured toward the weapon in the center of the chamber. "It is time to leave this place," she said. "The galaxy will take notice soon, and humans must be ready to step forward to show strength, wisdom, and ingenuity. You have learned well, and now it is time to act." Ethan, he nodded, feeling a surge of determination. They moved together through the facility, activating defensive measures to secure it and prepare for transport. Every system hummed in harmony, responding to Ethan's touch and Lyra's guidance. Together, they ensured that the weapon would be safe, yet available for use only when necessary to protect life, not destroy it. As they exited the facility and boarded the shuttle, Ethan, he took one last look at the moon. It was silent now, calm and peaceful, a stark contrast to the chaos that had erupted just hours earlier. He realized that humans were capable of turning chaos into opportunity, danger into triumph, and he knew that the galaxy would never underestimate them again. The shuttle rose silently, leaving the moon behind. Stars streaked past the viewport, and Ethan, he felt a sense of infinite possibility. Lyra, she sat beside him, her mask now removed, her eyes reflecting the light of distant suns. He saw not just an alien, but a being who had endured isolation, fear, and responsibility, and who had now placed her trust in him, a human. "You have done more than survive," Lyra She said softly. "You have changed the way I see your species. Humans are not fragile. They are capable, they are clever, brave, and resilient. You have proven this beyond any doubt." Ethan, he smiled faintly, feeling the weight of her words. He understood now that this was bigger than any mission, any weapon, any battle. It was about reputation, trust, and recognition. Humans had been dismissed for too long, underestimated in countless ways. But now, through his actions, through his ingenuity and courage, they had earned respect. Not fear, not suspicion, but respect. As the shuttle passed through a nebula glowing with colors he had never seen before, he reflected on the journey that had brought him here. He had been an ordinary human, traveling through an alien city, when he noticed a masked figure who seemed to move with purpose and secrecy. That moment had changed everything. From curiosity, he had risen to responsibility. From uncertainty, he had risen to courage. And from doubt, he had risen to trust. She reached out, placing a hand lightly on his shoulder. "There is much work ahead," she said. "But together, humans and those who trust them can achieve what no one else dares imagine. You are no longer just one human. You are a symbol of potential, ingenuity, and hope." He felt a warmth in his chest, a mixture of pride, determination, and something deeper, a bond that went beyond species, experience, or circumstance. He realized that this was what HFY truly meant. Humans rising to challenges, earning trust, and proving themselves in ways that no one had expected. The shuttle descended toward a remote space station, one hidden from the eyes of the galaxy. There, they would prepare to reveal the weapon and their victory to those who needed hope, guidance, and proof that humans were capable of more than survival. The station's docking bays were quiet, safe, and secure. As the shuttle landed, he prepared to step into a world that would never look at humans the same way again. She looked at him, her eyes bright and steady. "You have done it, Ethan. You have defended knowledge, proven your ingenuity, and shown what humans can achieve. Now it is time for the galaxy to see it too." He nodded, stepping onto the station's platform. He felt a surge of purpose, knowing that everything they had done, the battles, the improvisations, the courage, was more than just survival. It was a declaration. Humans were not weak. Humans were not to be dismissed. Humans were capable of brilliance, resilience, and heroism on a scale the galaxy had never imagined. Together, he and she activated the station's communication array, sending a pulse of information across multiple star systems. Evidence of the weapon's protection, the defeated enemy forces, and the ingenuity that had secured it was broadcast for all to see. Aliens across the galaxy paused, watching reports, scanning data, and realizing for the first time that humans could be more than observers. They could be leaders, protectors, and innovators. He stepped back, letting the pendant rest against his chest. It had been a guide, a link, and a reminder of trust. But now he realized that trust was not only about guidance, it was about proving oneself through action. Humans had done just that. She stood beside him, unmasked, her expression reflecting hope and quiet pride. "You have changed more than this facility, Ethan," she said softly. "You have changed the way the galaxy sees your kind. You have proven that humans are capable of greatness." He looked out at the stars, imagining the worlds beyond, the species that had underestimated humans for so long. He felt a deep satisfaction knowing that they would never look at humans the same way again. Humans were clever. Humans were brave. Humans were capable of rising above expectation. And now they had proof. For the first time in his life, he understood that this was more than a personal victory. It was humanity's victory, and the galaxy would remember it. She reached out, placing her hand lightly on his arm, and for the first time there was no mask, no distance, no fear. There was only trust, recognition, and hope. And as he looked into her eyes, he realized that humans had not just survived, they had risen. The stars glimmered outside the station, silent witnesses to the moment. And in that light, a human and an alien stood together, proof that courage, ingenuity, and trust could change the course of a galaxy. He smiled, feeling the weight of what had been accomplished and the promise of what was yet to come. The galaxy would never underestimate humans again. And somewhere deep in the cosmos, far beyond the reach of most beings, humanity's rise had begun.